Learning on the part of the child should be a pleasant side effect of good teaching, or good inspiring, whether the lesson comes from a human being or a direct experience. Even if a child's attention is fleeting, it is not their fault if a teacher has failed to engage them. If some inanimate object they're playing with fails to sustain their attention, they put it down. We don't make the child feel bad for this. It is no different when it comes to, say, a classroom situation in which the child becomes bored by the lesson being taught. No one can feign genuine interest. Does the teacher not mind that the child isn't genuinely interested at heart? Is the mere pretense of interest good enough? Because, good behaviour? Fuck that, mate. The impartation of knowledge from teacher to child is the teacher's responsibility, not the child's. The child will respond accordingly to that which is being conveyed to them and how it is being conveyed. If curiosity has been piqued, the person who wishes to impart information to the child has succeeded, or is at least doing something right. It is important to know that when it comes to PDA and learning, potential lessons reside within every experience. Learning isn't something that can happen on demand or when someone else decides it's time. When one least expects it, an opportunity for learning will organically avail itself to the PDA child, following a direct encounter with or observation of something cool and shiny. A teacher may have their own teaching agenda outfitted with schedules and timetables, etc. But these must be scrapped. They are enforced and prescribed and not organic or spontaneous. The lessons dotted about the environment, residing in most everything, will reveal themselves upon being discovered, and it's up to whoever is around the child to explore the environment for interest nuggets alongside them and capitalise on the windows of opportunity before the child's interest wanes. The child's curiosity will carve the curriculum, not the agenda of the teacher or the school. Curiosity, inspiration and natural interest are the drivers, not anyone's authority or instruction. The role of a good teacher is to inspire and facilitate, not to drive, orchestrate or lead. Curiosity is the child's baseline, and it is in a teacher's best interest not to interfere with this. Intervention, in the form of traditional teaching, could flatten a child's natural curiosity. In many cases, it isn't that the child develops a hatred towards learning. They develop a hatred towards having irrelevant information they aren't interested in shoved down their throats, faced with legal consequences upon failing to comply. For many children, though, they do go on to associate both being taught and learning with trauma, and thereby avoid the education process entirely. Even personal special interests become too reminiscent of the school-based traumas they've endured. Do you blame them? I don't. Traditional schooling is for chumps. Neurodivergent children need a totally new approach to education, one that is collaborative and flexible, whereby the only thing they are guided by is their own curiosity and the pursuit of their special interests are prioritised, thus ensuring the learning process remains enjoyable and meaningful. Having some bullshit curriculum imposed on them leads to, at best, disenchantment with learning and at worst, trauma. I believe that one day we will look back and think, how did we ever think that something such as sending some neurodivergent children to mainstream schools was a good idea? It should only be a good idea if the neurodivergent child chooses to go to mainstream school themselves. Many do and love it, but this should be their choice and no one else's. The autistic mind is an interest-based system, and therefore learning should be an effortless, enjoyable process which takes place upon the individual succumbing to the gravitational pull of their special interests. It only becomes complicated when the process is interfered with by people who try and teach in a way contradictory to how the child learns.